with this, we are ready for our next talk. So for our next talk, I want to bring on two amazing people here, Daniel and Sascha from Rootstock Labs and Rootstock Collective. And we're going to talk about how do we bring EVM to the Bitcoin network. So super exciting category and things that I'm personally interested in. So without further ado, let's welcome Daniel and Sascha on stage.
How's that? You hear me okay? All right, very cool. Nice to see you all. Thanks so much for coming. I'm going to talk to you today about a new phase for Bitcoin L2s. You've probably heard a bit about this. Bitcoin L2s have become a very exciting space over the last 18 months, and Rootstock played a foundational role in that sector. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that and how this relates to Ethereum, because we have a shared history. So my name's Daniel Fogg. I'm the CEO of Rootstock Labs. If you like, we're the foundation responsible for growing the ecosystem. We've been core contributors to Rootstock since the formation and the launch of Rootstock 6.5 years ago, and we're builders of Rift technology. I'm also joined in the audience by Sascha Gutzeit. Sascha is the founder of the Rootstock Foundation Collective, the foundation, which supports the Rootstock Collective. This is the first time we're saying this in public, so we still haven't, it's very new, and you're going to actually get a launch here today live, so bear with us. No demos though. And Sascha's going to join me on stage halfway through to run you through what the Rootstock Collective is and why it matters for both the Bitcoin and Ethereum ecosystems. So at Rootstock Labs, our vision really is to make sure that Bitcoin works for everyone. We don't believe it works for everyone today. Scaling Bitcoin is a real challenge. It's a very difficult network to operate with. It's fantastic at storing value. But increasingly that value is held in a new technological elite. If Bitcoin is going to become something which is available to billions of people around the world and is useful every day, it needs to be seen as much more than simply a store of value. It needs to be a cryptographic layer that millions of people and millions of businesses can anchor into in their daily transactions. This is obviously a big vision, and we are on a long journey to get there. But we're really excited about the emergence of L2s because we think it's a way that vision is being implemented right now. So Rootstock was designed in 2015 and launched in 2018. It was always conceived to combine Bitcoin's security, the cryptographic security of the decentralized Bitcoin blockchain and the proof of work mechanism with the store of value that Bitcoin allows, but also combine that with the programmability of Ethereum, Solidity smart contracts, Ethereum virtual machines, ERC20 tokens, and more. And increasingly, as the Ethereum developer ecosystem has grown, that also means all the incredible tooling and all the incredible DeFi technology that we've come to rely on. Since the launch, a Bitcoin L2 market has emerged around us, and maybe, I'm talking here to an Ethereum audience, it might be useful to explain some of the innovations that have happened that have made this take place. Often, these kind of emergences within crypto are driven by technology triggers, and the Bitcoin L2 emergence is no different. So the big thing that happened was the emergence of BitVM. So there was a cryptographer called Robin Linus that formed a way to do disputable computation on Bitcoin, and this shone a light on a path for how you could potentially build optimistic rollups anchored into Bitcoin. This is kind of the first big innovation. The second innovation was the advent of taproot assets and some of the excitement around runes. This basically took what was previous to this a relatively staid and perhaps slightly uninnovative developer sector and turned it into a place where you could actually have fun. You could launch meme tokens. You could have NFTs on Bitcoin as well. So it opened it up and made it a more creative and playful environment. Today, about 40% of Bitcoin's developers are working on L2s, and there is a lot of venture capital flooding into this space. Some of the mature layers there you probably heard of, Rootstock, Stacks, Lightning, and Liquid. Lightning, these are all different. You'll probably notice that. So the term L2 has been ported in from Ethereum, but we're not talking about rollups here. We're talking about any significant scaling layer for Bitcoin. So each of those four mature layers do things slightly differently. So Liquid, founded by Adam Back, is a mechanism to do partially permissioned enterprise-grade Bitcoin transfers. Lightning is obviously a scaling layer for Bitcoin and is primarily for micropayments. Stacks is a blockchain network which has primarily found its kind of prime use case around NFTs. And Rootstock is focused primarily on Bitcoin DeFi. But there's a huge number of new entrants as well. Many of these are using BitVM to scale their network and build a better bridge to Bitcoin. So over the next kind of 12 to 18 months, you're going to see many more of these grow. A little bit about Rootstock, some things that make it different. So cryptographic, economic, and monetary alignment to Bitcoin. So we created the merge mining protocol, which is a way that every single Rootstock block is hashed on the Bitcoin main chain. That means every transaction, every asset on Rootstock is secured by Bitcoin proof of work. And for doing this, there are over 57% of the Bitcoin hash rate is securing Rootstock today. And we work with some of the biggest mining pools in the world to make sure that they are merge mining Rootstock as well. We share 79% of the fees from Rootstock with those miners. This is really important because it means that Rootstock contributes to the security budget of Bitcoin, which is obviously a big issue in the Bitcoin community. And also monetary alignment. There is no competing money token. Bitcoin is the gas token on Rootstock. Bitcoin is king on the network. So a couple of points. Today, 28-second block time. That's going to be dropping to 5 seconds in the next 6 to 9 months as we launch the fast finality protocol. So again, this is Bitcoin security. Bitcoin is an asset, but with 5-second transactions. We have over 155 protocols on the network. The interesting thing here is with the emergence of Bitcoin L2s, we've seen a huge growth rate in the number of protocols on Rootstock. In around December, this was 90. So we've seen 50% growth in the last 8 months. Today, to give you an idea of scale of the network, there's nearly 3,000 BTC locked in the two-way peg. The two-way peg is the mechanism to bring Bitcoin from the Bitcoin network into Rootstock. And we have around $200 million of additional TVL from either native or bridged assets. So these are assets either launched on the network or brought over from other networks. One of the things that really differentiates Rootstock from other Bitcoin L2s is it is still to this day the fastest and easiest way to build on Bitcoin. So again, when you build on Rootstock, you're building protocols and launching tokens that are secured by Bitcoin proof of work, and Bitcoin is native and comfortable on this network. It is designed for Bitcoin. However, it also means that you can bring any DeFi protocol from any EVM chain, any asset from any EVM chain, and very quickly and easily bridge it over to Rootstock. But crucially, from a couple of points from a developer's perspective that really matter, we've had 100% uptime in 6.5 years. Some of the biggest blockchains in the world have not had this. When you build on Rootstock, you build to last. You know you're building something that's going to be secure and isn't going to go down like Solana. The other thing I'd sort of note here that's really kind of key for this audience, we've been working really hard to make sure that the best developer tools that are available on Ethereum are also available on Rootstock, allowing people to build on Bitcoin. So native on the network, third web, full implementation of the graph and Gelato, and I'm really excited to say that in the coming weeks, we're going to be going live as well with Alchemy. This means that the main developer environments and the main tools that people know and love from Ethereum are available from day one when you're building on Rootstock. What does the ecosystem look like? Just to give you a flavor, we have some of the leading DeFi wallets that people know to love and hate, like MetaMask, but also Ledger, which I generally think people love. But also we have many of the major dexes from Ethereum, so Uniswap and SushiSwap are natively launched on Rootstock. Recent launches from LeFi. But we also, this ecosystem has been around for a long time. You'll probably hear from many L2s that there's been lots of things are being done for the first time as this market emerges. But the reality is we've had Bitcoin collateralized stablecoins on Bitcoin with money on chain for over 4 years. The sovereign DeFi platform, which was launched natively on Rootstock in 2021, is a full DeFi platform built specifically for Bitcoiners and built on Rootstock. And again, there's loads of new protocols launching all the time, and we're working hard to make sure this is a fully composable ecosystem. What's coming up? I talked before about BitVM. We have our own implementation that we've been working on called BitVMX, which allows arbitrary computation on Bitcoin. And we're going to be using this framework to build a better bridge to Bitcoin. And we're going to be talking more about that in the coming weeks as our full architecture goes public. BitVMX is a totally open source project. You're going to be able to use this for any of your other, anyone can use this. We expect, I think, open sourcing of all of the code to happen early next year. And we've published a number of white papers on this already. This is really important because while we have one of the most performant bridges to Bitcoin today, there is no other bridge that's been running for as long as Rootstock, we still think that it's not enough. And we think using this optimistic rollup framework to build a better bridge to Bitcoin is going to be extremely a big step forward for the ecosystem. We're also in advanced discussions with institution-grade native Bitcoin lending protocols. So this is going to be Ethereum level, tier 1 lending platforms and money markets launching on Rootstock and offering lending of Bitcoin on Bitcoin. So this is going to be coming in the next couple of months. Super excited about this. And then finally, and this is really why we're here today, and I'm about to introduce Sascha onto the stage in a moment, democratizing Rootstock. Every L1 has the desire to essentially, at a certain point, rely on no organization or no entity to support its growth and to contribute to its core code. And Rootstock's no different. Rootstock Labs is here to grow the Rootstock network, but we increasingly want to make sure that the community and the developers that build on the network from these 155 different protocols have a stake in the future and have a stake in what happens to Rootstock and some incentives to do so. And this brings me to the Bitcoin builder's dilemma, and this is something which, frankly, we've been grappling with since day one. The economic and monetary alignment to Bitcoin and having Bitcoin as the native gas token means that, unlike Ethereum, incentives do not accrue to the developers. They instead accrue to Bitcoin miners. So the dilemma is, how do you scale a Bitcoin L2 while maintaining that close connection to Bitcoin if the value capture mechanism of the ecosystem only rewards the Bitcoin miners? Essentially, the builders and the community are excluded, and the liquidity, which is why the L2 ecosystem has been growing so fast, remains untapped. Again, you have around, I think it's 99.2% of all of the Bitcoin in circulation is essentially on exchanges doing nothing or in cold storage. Only 0.8% of that is active in DeFi, and the majority is in wrapped BTC. Now, that is changing, but this dilemma is why everyone's so excited about Bitcoin L2s. So I'd like to introduce to the stage Sascha Gutzeit. Sascha has been a contributor to Rootstock for an extremely long time. He's a much trusted member of the community, and he is now the founder of the foundation that's here to grow the Rootstock Collective. So Sascha, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Daniel. When we were starting to address like the dilemma that Daniel just shared, the Bitcoin builder's dilemma, we were exploring different routes. We were looking at more classic all the way to more modern approaches that people took there. And we found this guy. Paul Samuelson once said, "The economy works best when resources flow freely to their most productive uses." So this guy knows his stuff because he's a Nobel Prize winner for economics. So he has done some work around it. His comment basically links the idea of efficient resource allocation to the way DAOs operate, creating the perfect bridge between economic theory and blockchain governance. We liked this route a lot, so we decided to continue and go a bit deeper on it. Before I move to the next slide, I would like to ask a question to the audience, like how many guys of you participate actively in the DAO? Please raise your hands. Okay, I can see a couple of hands, that's great. This is why you guys are a great audience. Fantastic. So, but we do not only have people in the room that basically participating in DAOs, we also have people in the room that pioneered breakthroughs when it comes to decentralized governance, to DAOs, and to community-driven innovation. We decided to take those learnings, draw inspiration from it, while unleashing the full potential of Rootstock and Bitcoin. This was the time when the idea and the birth of the Rootstock Collective started. But what is the Rootstock Collective? So let me share some numbers. It all started about a year ago as an initiative within Rootstock Labs. So we started slow. We brought in some of the world's leading companies when it comes to DAOs and how they get done. So we brought in Outlier Ventures for the tokenomics. We brought in Stable Lab for governance and go-to-market activities. We brought in Mayosin for more go-to-market activities. Some of the folks are here in the room, thanks to you guys. And we also brought in Koto for the amazing design work that you can see in the presentation. And we began the journey all together. After that, we decided to take the first decisions. So we, for instance, decided to use the existing Rift token for governance. But we also needed to get the financials sorted, right? Because it all matters very much. So we secured $10 million for the DAO treasury in year one. This will help to fuel the growth. But we're not only going for that. We also decided to take 21% of all future Rootstock transaction fees and move them into the DAO. The remaining 79% will still go to the miners. We also put 100% of all Rift protocol fees into the DAO. And we truly believe that this will build a great foundation for that beginning phase of the DAO. But what do we expect as output? First and foremost, there's a fair value capture for Bitcoin builders and stakers. And this is the most important thing of the whole presentation, basically. So if you remember one thing, it should be this. We want to change the historical way how Bitcoin treated the value capture. Like, it rewarded miners and it also rewarded Bitcoin holders. But what about those guys? Like, nobody basically really took care of them. So we are about to change this. We want to give opportunity for these two groups to really get rewarded for what they're doing. For the innovators, like whether it's a small one-man show showing up at a hackathon, all the way through you want to scale your proper business and grow it, right? We want to be part of that journey, and we want to make sure that we can support them in the best possible way by providing a grants program to them, all the way through a builder's incentive market, which will launch pretty soon. But we also, of course, on the other side, want to make sure that the Rift stakers also get their fair share of the cake. So by giving them the power in actively pushing the growth of the decentralized community there, we give them also the opportunity to earn rewards through this. You might ask yourself, why does it matter for me? What's in it for me? And why am I telling you this today? So there's massive opportunities. We are opening the doors for all developers, and we especially invite the Ethereum builders here. There's an easy way to tap into Rootstock through, Bitcoin through Rootstock due to the EVM compatibility, which makes it really, really easy. And there's limitless opportunities in Bitcoin. It has the biggest liquidity, it is the biggest scale that's currently existing, so it's quite easy for you to just move over basically and grow another business or expand your existing business to that audience. And that whole thing, it's bigger than compatibility, sorry. It's about breaking boundaries, innovate, and define the future of decentralized finance together. It's time to scale on Bitcoin now. And we need you to join the revolution. We need you to join the Rootstock Collective. You can find all information, details, white paper, etc. under the QR code, or catch me later in the forum or outside. It was a pleasure talking to all of you guys today. Thanks a lot and have an amazing rest of the day.